It is now time for a check on sports. It is now time to bring in Mike Cozzi. Good morning, Mike.
Morning.
I have to admit I went home yesterday and I watched baseball all afternoon into the evening.
Did you?
It was a nice thing. It really was. No politics, no Mueller, it was just...
No Jesse Smollins or whatever his name is?
It was just bliss. It was bliss. I watched the Yankees, and then I flipped on Major League Baseball Network, which is great, and I got to see a whole bunch of games, different portions of different games. So it was a fun day, and I got to see the Skankies win.
Yep. Impressive thing yesterday was the Mets.
Oh gosh, how impressive!
DeGrom picked up right where he left off last year with 6 innings with 10 strikeouts. It's tough. It's tough to come back from a year like he had last year and produce, and he did so right out of the box.
But how good must he have felt when he got staked to a lead by Robinson Cano? I mean, really?
Wasn't much. It was 1 run, but it lasted to the 8th when the Mets scored another run. So the Mets still didn't score for him, but he pitched shutout ball with the bullpen combining for 3 shutout innings, and the Mets held on to beat Washington 2-0. Both teams only got 5 hits.
Yeah,
both teams had their aces pitch, and Scherzer went real deep. He went 7 2/3. I think he struck out 12 Mets.
Yeah.
So the Mets hitting woes continue, but you can say Scherzer dominated them early in the season. But the very impressive thing yesterday was DeGrom, like I said, picked up right where he left off last year, and that's a real good sign for Met fans.
Phillies had a big game yesterday.
The Phillies had a big game yesterday?
Yeah.
Every game the Phillies play is big because they got the $400 million man there who went 0 for 3 yesterday. Great start. Great start for Bryce Harper, 0 for 3.
0 for 3, all right.
I guess the pressure got to him.
The Red Sox lost yesterday, which always makes Yankee fans happy on opening day. But
yeah, they got spanked up yesterday. And
Seattle, yeah.
Houston played Tampa yesterday in Tampa. And see, that's what I mean about these pitchers. Last year, Snell won the Cy Young Award for Tampa Bay, and he got scattered up yesterday by Houston. Houston rock and rolled him. He didn't pitch well yesterday. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 6 hits with 5 earned runs. And on the other side of the stick, the guy that was second in the Cy Young voting, Justin Verlander, went 7 strong innings, gave up only 3 hits with 9 strikeouts, and got the win. So Houston's flexing their muscles a little bit early this year, both with the bats and with Verlander. They got hit with the injury bug, and anybody gets hit with the injury bug is going to have a tough time, and that's what happened with Houston last year.
All right, so we're off and running. NCAA tournament, anything exciting happened last night?
Yeah, Purdue beat up Tennessee. It was an entertaining game. They were up by as much as 25, and Tennessee came back to take the lead, and then Purdue scored late in the game to send it to overtime, and Purdue totally dominated the overtime, and Tennessee, number 2 seeds, going home. Gonzaga had a pretty easy time with Florida State. Florida State's big player got in foul trouble early and often, and that really inhibited them, and Gonzaga took advantage of it, beating them 78-52. The 2 late games, Texas Tech and Michigan, and Virginia and Oregon, they needed to hand out strong coffee to keep people awake, both those games. Both games, after 10 minutes of play, neither team had 10 points. It was the worst shooting I've ever seen in the Sweet 16, and it was going on in both games. In that game, Texas Tech walloped Michigan 63-44, and Virginia squeaked by Oregon 53-49. So the setup for tomorrow for the teams to go to the Final Four is Texas Tech against Virginia and Purdue against Gonzaga.
All right. You predicted Virginia, didn't you, in the beginning of the tournament?
No.
No?
No, Virginia stinks.
Okay.
Virginia's a defensive team that can't score.
Seriously, how much I follow basketball. I just don't.
I didn't pick anybody. I said that anybody can win the tournament because all the big teams were getting knocked off in the conference tournaments, and I still believe anybody can win. Tennessee looked really, really good all year. They probably held the number 1 position for more weeks than anybody in the season, and they're gone. So it's one of those seasons. And Purdue, the way they played yesterday, I think they can beat Gonzaga. And Texas Tech, I believe Texas Tech will beat Virginia.
All right. Well, with that being
Texas
said,
Tech is big and fast. They impressed me yesterday. They really did.
All right. So you want to go to racing?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. I think it's a good idea.
Races start early tomorrow down there, 11:30. It's a weird card. They got some nice stakes races down there at the end of the card today, and tomorrow they got some maiden specials thrown in here and there. So it's kind of a weird card. I guess Gulfstream expired a lot of their stakes by using them on big days throughout the year and left themselves a little short on Florida Derby Day, but there's still some pretty decent races. First one I'm going to pick up is the 10th race. It's an ungraded stake race. It's a $100,000 sand spring going a mile on a turf. Draws 9 horses in here. 2 horses I'm looking at here. One is the 8, Indina de Sur. If you look back at this horse, he's got some hidden races against some pretty decent horses at some decent prices. He ran 4th last time out at Gulfstream on a yielding turf, and it rained down there pretty hard yesterday. All the races came off the grass, and it was really sloppy down there. So don't know what the track conditions are going to be like. I don't know what the weather's going to be like today. If it's a nice, sunny, hot day in South Florida, it would dry things up. But if not, we got to see what that's going to look like on Saturday. But I like this horse. This horse is a hard hitter. Never won on the Gulfstream turf, but I think at 8-1, this horse is a nice play. But my top pick's going to be the 9-horse Proctor's Ledge. If you look at this horse, he's been running in some pretty deep waters and graded stakes. This horse ran on a good track at Churchill Downs, going a mile, which is the distance, and won at 6-1. Johnny Velasquez rode this horse the last 2 times, didn't get the best of trips. Coming off a long layoff, hasn't run since last October. Brendan Walsh is pretty good off the layoff. This horse is training well at Palm Meadows. I'm going to take the 4-1 in Proctor's Ledge in this race. So a 9, 8, 8, 9 exacta box with Proctor's Ledge to win. From there, we roll down the road to the 13th race, which is the Pan America. It's a Grade 2. It's a 1.5 miles on the turf. This draws another nice field. The way I'm going to go here is going to be a little bit short. I'm going to go with the 4 Senescer, trained by Armand Delacour. This horse has been running pretty good last summer. Ran real nice in the Stars and Stripes in July, then got laid up till August. Got a nice tightener in the McKnight, and Delacour's a guy that has his horses ready to run off the shelf. So this horse is coming off a 2-month layoff. I don't think it'll affect him. And this horse has been running in big distance races, 1.5 miles up to 2 miles. So the 1.5 mile distance is right in his wheelhouse. So I'm going to use the 4 Knesser. Another horse who gives all he's got every time is the 8 Soglio. I'm going to use that horse in my exacta box, and that horse is trained by Mike Maker. And there's another horse right next door trained by Mike Maker, Bigger Picture, who's the 9 horse at 6-1 and coming off of a race 1.5 miles down at Sam Houston where it won at 3-5. So I'm going to use that horse in here as well. So I'm going to spread in here with the 4, 8, 9, making an exacta box in this race, which leads us up to the 14th, which is the Florida Derby. Draws a field of 11. I'm looked at the race last night. There's still some speed in here. The 1 horse, Hidden Scroll, I've never seen a time form speed rating as high as I've seen for any horse in my life as this horse. Has an early pace number of 150, which is absolutely insane. And there's other speed to go in this race with him. So I'm going to look for some of the closers to make some moves here. The 4 Bourbon War, who made a big move in the Fountain of Youth, is going to be every wise guy's play this side of the Mississippi. If you get anything near 7-2, you're going to be lucky. Can this horse win the race? I think this horse can win the race, but you're going to get a very deflated price on this horse. You're not going to get any kind of value. I would definitely use this horse in my exotics, but with the short price, I'm not going to take him to win. Code of Honor is the horse that won the Fountain of Youth. Was getting short late in that race a little bit with the oncoming Bourbon War. Code of Honor is another horse I'm going to use in here. 2 horses that I think are really tricky. One is the 2-horse Current at 15-1, trained by Todd Pletcher. This horse is Triple Crown nominated. Only ran on the dirt one time, and that was in the Kentucky Jockey Club on a sloppy track at Churchill the end of November. Went off 7-1 there. Is working out very well at Palm Beach Downs. This horse is a use to me. By curling out of a Stormcat mare, trying this horse on the dirt. If this horse takes to the dirt with his running style, can be very, very dangerous. So the 2-horse Current's another horse I'm going to use. And I'm going to go to the guy that, the girl I went to the dance with here with the 3-horse, Harvey Wallbanger. I picked Harvey Wallbanger in the Holy Bull and then didn't disappoint at odds just less than 30-1. Gets another great setup with the speed in this race. Is working lights out over the track for Kenny McPeak. 2 excellent works the last 2 times over the track. All systems go. 15-1 morning line in here. I think the line maker's a little bit nuts. Harvey Wallbanger is going to be my top pick in the Florida Derby, and I'm going to use the 2 Current, the 9 Code of Honor, and the 4 Bourbon War. And Current is going to be my double exacta play here because I just love the odds on it. And that's going to be my plays tomorrow in the Florida Derby, which has a post time of about 6:36.